Close your eyes. Let the world pause for just a moment. Let your thoughts soften, like fog dissolving at sunrise. There is no need to run now. You've already run long enough. This is your silent pivot, a space where the noise of the world fades and your inner voice is finally allowed to whisper. And tonight, I want to remind you of something quietly powerful. You are not too late to start over. You might think that time has slipped through your fingers, that opportunities were missed. That your best years are buried under regret or routine or silence. But I invite you to imagine something different. Imagine that everything you've lived so far, the heartbreaks, the delays, the missteps, were not detours, but preparation. Preparation for a version of you that's quieter, wiser, deeper. Not the one you were expected to be in your 20s, but the one you were always meant to become. There's a myth that if you haven't figured it out by 30, you failed. That by now you should have a career nailed down, a home bought, a family started, a purpose claimed. But the truth is, growth is not a race, and transformation does not come with a deadline. Some of the most powerful chapters of your life won't look like fireworks. They'll look like early mornings with quiet coffee, late nights with journaled fears. They'll look like changing one thought at a time and showing up, even if it's just for yourself. Tonight, I want you to rest in the knowing that you don't need to explain your timeline to anyone. Your story isn't behind. It's unfolding. You are allowed to change, to evolve, to delete and restart without shame, to admit that the life you once wanted no longer fits. And maybe that's why you're here now, lying in the dark, head full of thoughts, wondering if you've missed your moment. You haven't. Your moment is being rebuilt in silence, piece by piece, night by night. You're not behind. You're just beginning again, with more honesty this time. So breathe with me now. Inhale, like you're welcoming a new chapter. Exhale, like you're letting go of who you no longer need to be. This space, this audio, this time, it's for the version of you who's still standing, still trying, still hoping quietly that it's not too late. Because it isn't. You're not too late to love differently, to forgive deeply, to live slower, to dream bigger, in quieter, truer ways. You don't need to prove yourself to the world. You just need to return to yourself. So let's walk this night together, one reflection at a time. Let me tell you stories, not of people who had it all, but of people who lost it and chose to start over. Let's rebuild silently, without pressure, without rush, because sometimes the strongest kind of reset is the one that happens when no one's watching. Maybe you've spent years trying to meet expectations that were never truly yours. Maybe you followed paths that others said were right, only to wake up one day and feel empty, not broken, just disconnected. It's okay. You're not alone in that. Many people spend their 30s trying to make sense of the mess they created in their 20s. But the truth is, life was never meant to be linear. Not for the soul, not for healing, not for becoming who you really are. Some people find clarity after heartbreak. Others find peace after failure. And some only begin to hear their true inner voice after the world stops clapping. What you're doing now, lying here, listening, is not weakness. It's not laziness. It's not failure. It's awareness. It's stillness. It's the beginning of a new life where you don't have to hustle for validation anymore. You've already proven enough. You've already carried enough. And now, you're allowed to rest. You're allowed to rebuild, not because you're broken, but because you're becoming. You don't need everyone to understand. You don't need to go viral. You don't need to explain your softness, your slowness, your choice to reset at your own pace. The truth is, people over 30 carry invisible weight. The weight of should-haves, of timelines missed, of dreams postponed, of guilt from staying too long where you didn't belong. But there is power in this awareness, because from here, you get to choose, not what pleases others, but what heals you. You can take a new path. Even if it's unfamiliar, even if it feels late, even if no one walks with you. Because starting over isn't a sign of failure, it's proof of courage. And quiet courage is still courage. So let tonight be your small revolution. Not the kind with noise and flags, but the kind that starts with silence, breathing, and one brave decision to stop pretending. Stop pretending you're fine. Stop pretending you don't care. Stop pretending you're too late. You're not, you're just arriving. Maybe no one ever taught you how to pause, how to breathe without guilt, how to choose rest without shame. Maybe you were taught that success means constant movement, that you must always be building, achieving, climbing. But what if the strongest version of you is the one who knows when to stop? What if true power is not in how fast you rise, but in how gently you return to yourself when no one is watching? Tonight, I want to speak to that version of you, the one who's exhausted from trying, but still holding on. You're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to not have the answers. You're allowed to want more, even if you can't define what more means yet. Sometimes clarity doesn't come as lightning. It comes as soft fog. You walk through it slowly. You feel your way forward, one quiet step at a time. And somehow, you begin to see again. So let this audio be your fog. Let it hold you gently. Let it remind you that confusion is not failure. It's transition. It's growth in disguise. It's the soil cracking before something beautiful breaks through. You're not late. You're just in the soil phase, unseen, underground, but becoming. And when you rise, it won't be for applause. It will be for peace. You'll begin to love people differently, without needing to fix or be fixed. You'll choose jobs for alignment, not prestige. You'll wake up to mornings that feel like beginnings, not burdens. This is the real pivot, not the dramatic reinvention the world sells, but the invisible shift where your worth is no longer defined by noise, but by your own rhythm. And yes, it takes time. It takes nights like this. And voices like this, to remind you that even in your quietest season, you are healing. So breathe, just breathe. Let every word I speak settle deeper into you. You are not too old, not too broken, not too lost. You are simply unfolding. There will come a time, quietly, without warning, when you'll look back and realize you didn't give up. You didn't stay broken. You rebuilt, even when no one clapped, even when it felt like no one cared. That's the kind of strength that doesn't need validation. It lives in the quiet choices, in the nights you didn't post, in the mornings you simply tried again. That's the strength of those who choose peace over performance, and you are becoming one of them. Let the world chase noise. You are choosing depth. Let the world race toward things that shine. You are choosing what's real. Let the world celebrate the loudest. You will be the one who heals the deepest. You don't need to tell everyone what you're doing. Some transformations happen in the dark, beneath the surface, and when they rise, they are undeniable. This chapter of your life isn't about proving anything. It's about feeling again, trusting again, living without the mask, sleeping without the weight, loving without the script. You're not reinventing yourself to be liked. You're shedding what no longer serves your truth. That's the pivot. Not loud, not fast, but honest. So when you wake tomorrow, maybe nothing will have changed. The world will still be the same. The sky won't be any brighter. But inside, a quiet shift will have begun. And sometimes, that's all we need. One shift, one truth, one slow, sacred yes to ourselves. You're allowed to begin again, without a 5-year plan, without a grand goal, without knowing the whole path. All you need is to say, I am worth returning to. And you are. You always were. You just forgot. But this space, this night, was created to help you remember. You were never meant to live your entire life by someone else's checklist. Not your parents, not society's, not even your younger selves. You're allowed to outgrow the dreams you once had. You're allowed to say, that life I was chasing doesn't feel like mine anymore. This is not quitting. This is aligning. And that takes courage most people will never understand. Because walking away from what's fine in order to find what's true is not easy. But you're doing it, little by little, thought by thought, night by night. So if you feel like nothing is happening fast enough, if you feel like no one sees your effort, let me be the one who tells you, I see it. I hear the exhaustion in your silence. I feel the weight you carry at night when no one checks in. And I honor your slow journey, because it's real. The pivot doesn't happen in one decision. It happens in the 1,000 quiet decisions you make when no one's looking. Like choosing to reflect instead of numb, to pause instead of react, to try again instead of spiral, to rest instead of perform. This is how you reset, not through pressure, but through presence, not through shouting, but through softness. You are not rebuilding your life for a show. You are rebuilding it for you, and that's why it will last this time. The old life was built on expectation. This new one is being built on integrity, and when you finally rise, it won't be flashy. It will be rooted, sustainable, peaceful, and the people meant to walk with you will feel that energy and come find you, not because you demanded attention, but because you became undeniable. Keep breathing, keep trusting. Even if your mind tries to doubt, let your soul be louder than the noise. You are healing in silence, and that is sacred. One day you'll look in the mirror and realize you didn't just survive. You softened, you shed, you rebuilt. From truth, not ego. And even if no one else ever claps for that, I will. Because the hardest part of healing is doing it without applause, doing it in the dark, doing it when the world keeps moving and you're standing still, feeling everything. But healing is not a race, and silence is not a sign of failure. In fact, silence is where transformation happens. It's in the nights when you ask yourself, is this it? And instead of running from the question, you sit with it. You listen, and slowly, you start to hear the answers you buried beneath years of noise, fear, and distraction. You are not late. You are listening. And that puts you ahead of most. Because most people stay busy to avoid this moment. The moment you're in now. The stillness. The rawness. The quiet invitation to begin again with no audience. Just yourself. Tonight, let that be enough. No pressure to change the world. No checklist to complete before morning. No false urgency to prove anything. Just rest. And remember who you were before the world told you who to be. You were softer. You were more curious. You didn't need so many walls. And that version of you is still here, beneath the layers, waiting patiently to be invited back in. So breathe again. Inhale, permission. Exhale, performance. You are safe to start over. You are ready, not because everything is perfect, but because you're finally being honest. You're no longer chasing timelines, you're reclaiming your own. And from here, your life begins to shift. Not all at once, but slowly, silently, like the moon reshaping the tide. This is your silent pivot.